the glare on my glasses. The window's in front of me, but we are about to jump into our August wrap up. I don't know what happened to August because I feel like I just filmed my July wrap up 3 days ago. I do deeply fear I'm gonna run out of room in my journal. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that, and next year I'm gonna need like a 500-page journal, which is scary. I literally next year might just do nothing, none of this stuff in the beginning, and just have it be the books that I read. I think that's probably the MO, and then I can like put this, maybe just do my goals in the rating system and nothing else, because I can't be wasting valuable space. But I did read 16 less books this month, so that'll be helpful. If for whatever reason I seem slightly off, full disclosure, I got my period this morning and I feel like I'm literally going to die. So that's just my truth and my reality today. My issue is also I get a headache if I don't wear my glasses for doing things up close, but I can't see far away with them on. I'm a mess, okay? Welcome. Also, if you don't know, I do have a sticker shop. Most of the stickers that I'm using are going to be from my shop. Anything foiled is from my shop. Anything scripty is from my shop. But like these boxes and these the like little star rating chart things, those are all from my bestie girl Andrea's shop, which is ScribblePrintsCo. But yeah, that's going to be that. We're just going to go over the basis of what I am using for this month. Did I make everything I need? Hopefully. I'm not confident because again, I'm feeling like a mess. I do have my tracker stuff, which we will get to at the end of the video, and I chose to use the foil color of Cotton Candy for this month, so it's gonna be really fabulous. But I've got my, obviously things come better when you order them from the shop. They don't look like little just pieces of shit. They will come like this. This is for DNFs, August wrapped, August reads, locations, genres. I've got my flowers. I did some star deco bits. We've got a couple of pages of dividers here, mixed deco, and my stars for my star rating. I think we're just gonna start as we usually do by throwing in the August reads with a divider. Seems like the most logical place to start. Did I put that a little crooked? Absolutely. That's just part of my charm, you know? Then I'm gonna fill this in with, I think this one's gonna look really pretty here, like that. Oh yeah, baby. And then I'll toss in one of like the smaller, more blue leaning ones there. Oh man, where'd my scissors go? I had them. Is it here? Yeah. Looks like I had them because I used them in a different video that I filmed today. But that's gonna be that. And I think I'm gonna do the little star deco. These are a newer sheet in the shop. Highly recommend. We have tons of little deco bits like stars, diamonds, twinkles, sparkles, polka dots. You name it, we kind of have it. Also, I do not like the fact that the door just creaked because I am in fact home alone, so it's extra creepy when that happens. Even though it was like in time with the AC kicking on. So that's clearly what it is, but in my mind it's something's haunted, obviously. So with that being said, we are gonna just start with the first two books that I read. I am gonna separate this page in half to highlight them. The first book that I read this month was The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. Here's the quote that I have. I am gonna get all of my doodads. These are like the star reading things I use from SPC, and then you'll see me pull out tons of different boxes and stuff. Like originally the box I was going to use, but I feel like it looks kind of silly on there, so I may just like see if it fits on something else, because I do in fact think that looks bad. It will probably fit on here. It just might be a little bit short, which is fine. Yeah, so the quote I have from The Perfect Divorce is, "Money comes and goes, but time only goes." Not a lot of people realize that. When you give someone your time, what you're really giving them is a piece of you, and that's why giving them a piece of you're really giving them a piece of you, and that's why you have to be careful with it. In the shop, you can buy full sheets of like custom book quotes, and you can get 6 per sheet. I just like do them individually for myself where I have extra room when I'm doing other stuff. So that's why mine look like that. I do have the Bloody Deco from my shop, just in red. Tons of deco sheets in the shop. And then this stuff I don't sell. This is just like some fan art and nonsense that I find on Pinterest. And then I do have my custom books, which I do sell in the shop. So for this book, I do have some divorce papers and a knife as like my fan arty, my art little cool cutie fun stuff. So for sure gonna throw in the divorce papers. The Perfect Divorce, I gave this book 3 stars. I think this book was incredibly pointless. It was, and I knew that this was gonna be the case going in, so I'm not like, ooh, it's not like some shocking discovery that it's like a money grab book. Like, I knew that from the moment I saw that this book was coming out, that it was a money grab book. I think that's kind of obvious to anybody, that the first book, The Perfect Marriage, did super well, so Geneva wrote a second book. I mean, it's just the name of the game in life, is that when something is successful, they want to keep it going, keep it relevant. But the book felt pointless. Like, nobody needed it, nobody even really wanted it, and it didn't really bring much to the table. It was entertaining though, ish. I actually fell asleep listening to the audiobook, but part of that was you know, I had just been at a convention for days, and I was in fact just kind of a sleepy girl. But it's like fine. If you read the first book, sure, maybe read it, but it's not like I'm not telling people to run out and go buy it. It's like the epitome of fine. So we'll give it its 3 stars and literally move right on. I can't even really tell you what it's about, because it is a sequel to a thriller, and in my opinion, sequels to thrillers are kind of impossible to talk about without spoiling. So I'm just gonna say nothing about her, you know what I mean, because I don't want to risk spoiling anything for anybody. So the next book that I read, which The Perfect Divorce is not in any videos, but the next book I read is in a upcoming Besties Pick My Reads, my friend Caitlin edition, and she had me read The Love Haters by Catherine Center, and the quote I have is, every time you have to be brave, you get to be a little braver next time. That's what life is for. Absolutely love that quote. Pop it on this box from SPC. I'm actually gonna grab my Diet Coke. Also, I am wrapped in this, oh my god, how do you guys see this? I think you guys are seeing this on Sunday. My birthday is on Tuesday, and my mother-in-law got me this new heated blanket that's so cute. It's got cow print on it, and it has a timer. Oh my god, it's amazing. But I'm cozying on up with this. But The Love Haters is about our FMC, and she is going on this assignment for work where we have the Coast Guard, the Penny, and the helicopter go with this. And then I did the tropical deco from my shop in Rainbow. But she is, am I recording? Yeah. She's basically going on this assignment for work to go to try to secure a interview with this guy who is one of her friends slash coworkers' brother, who he kind of like is against doing interviews, and the brother doesn't want to go. It's kind of all of this situation, but she goes, and she kind of has to lie to her employers to get put on this assignment because she doesn't know how to swim, doesn't know how to do any of these things, and is very stressed out. And yeah, it was like okay. I mean, I gave it a 4. I think like I want to like Catherine Center more than I do, because I loved the first book that I ever read by her. I also, yeah, here's the tropical deco. The first book I ever read by Catherine was Hello Stranger, and I was absolutely obsessed with that book. Still am. I think that book is incredible, but nothing has really lived up, if I'm being honest. None of the other books I've read by her have been nearly as good. I've read the rom-commers, The Bodyguard, and now the love haters, and like I've given, I think, all of them 4 stars besides the first one that I gave 5 stars. But it just makes me sad because like I thought she was gonna be like an all-time 5-star always lady, and it's just not the case. Yeah, this book did not super stick with me. I'm like struggling to even really tell you a ton about it. She goes and he has this Great Dane, which obviously I love a doggo, so we did love that. And she just keeps getting herself in these situations. He's trying to teach her how to swim, XYZ, and it was just like, it was like a decent romance, but just not something, it was like fun while I read it, just not something I've literally thought about a single time since. Does that make sense? Like, I don't have anything bad to say about it, but in the same sense, it was not overly memorable, which is tragic. But we did get to learn a lot about I liked the guy a lot. We got to learn a lot about his family life and why him and his brother don't really speak. And we do find out why his brother kind of sent the female character to go get his brother to do this interview and such, and like what kind of drove them apart. And that part was actually really interesting, getting to hear about their like childhood, and like their childhood traumas were very sad indeed. And it was actually really cute. The like woman whose house she was staying at was like constantly like just being her hype woman, and I did quite enjoy that aspect. But those are the first 2 books. Okay, next up we have 2 books that I unhauled, which I feel like I'm gonna have more to say about them because I did not like them, and I sometimes feel like I only have things to say. Like next year I am gonna do half-star ratings, I already decided, but this year I didn't. By the time I decided that, we were too late into the year. So like the love haters would have been more like a 3.5 than a 4, but I feel like things that live in like the 3 category, I don't remember like in a ton of detail because it was just like fine. I enjoyed it at the time, but I'm never gonna think about it again. So if I really loved something or really hated something, I feel like I have more to say. And here comes Hater Hannah back at it again, baby, because these 2 books both have incredibly high average ratings, and yes. And one of them I originally gave 3 stars, but I retroactively gave it 2 stars, and the other one was an immediate 2-star. And the first one's The Wedding People. I know everybody and their mama loved this book, but I hated it. It has all the hallmarks of a book I would hate though, so it's not really all that shocking. I do have wedding deco from my shop in Pixie Blue, and the quote I have is there is no such thing as a happy place, because when you are happy, everywhere is a happy place, and when you are sad, everywhere is a sad place. Which I do love that quote. But the book had the hallmarks of everything I don't like in a book. I do not like books with extremely wealthy people that kind of suck. And in this book, we've got, I know one of the main characters, the girl who's like trying to unalive herself, her name is Phoebe. I don't remember the other girl's name. But basically, this girl Phoebe, she hates her life and she wants to end it all. And so she essentially goes to this fancy hotel at Newport to do that. She gets there, everybody else who's at this hotel is there for this big fancy wedding. And she runs into the bride, tells the bride what she's gonna do, and the bride's like, you can't ruin my wedding like that, basically. Like, you can't unalive yourself because it would inconvenience me. And then they do make this quite unlikely friendship, and I did think that that part was sweet, but both Phoebe and the other girl were just so, well, first off, the other girl was like this snotty rich girl, which is just in general not something I enjoy in books. And then Phoebe was also incredibly unlikable, and I can't stand books with unlikable characters. I just can't, and I know that a lot of people love an unlikable character. That's just not my journey, and because that was truly how I felt about these characters, I just couldn't do it. I just really couldn't do it. But the bride, we'll just call her the bride, she was kind of going through it, and we find out a lot about like her and her fiance and her family. and all of her feelings towards her wedding, blah, blah, blah. And like there is a lot of like learning moments for her, and she does become less shitty by the end, but like I just thought everybody was so irritating and so annoying in this book, which again, I know is not the popular opinion. I know I'm being a hater, and that's fine, but it is my truth. I changed my rating to a 2 because there was another book that I read last year, the Lisa Jewell book that everybody loved. None of this is true. I gave it 4 stars because I felt, or 3 stars, or I think I gave it 4 stars because I felt like I had to, but really I didn't like it that much. And I'm just committing to being a hater rather than a liar, you know? You know? The next book, and this is in a Besties Picks My Reads, my friend Madison picks. The next one's in my Goodreads Picks My Reads video, I believe, and it's, or mood reading, I think it's Goodreads Picks My Reads, and it's Where the Crawdads Sing, which I also gave 2 stars, and the quote I have is, I wasn't aware that words could hold so much. I didn't know a sentence could be so full. This book was so boring. Oh my god, like it caused me, I think, physical pain. I think it took years off my life. I think I'm less of a person for reading this book, which is like so dramatic, but like I'm drama, what can I say? I'm going to be using the Mystery Deco in Pixie Rose. It's really also tragic that I'm using my favorite foil on one of my least favorite books I read this year. And again, this book has incredibly high rating on Goodreads, so I'm the hater. That's the truth of the matter. But I was painfully bored, and I will say in my defense, not that I need to defend myself, but I'm gonna, even the extremely high ratings of this book, all of them said that it's a very slow start, the beginning's quite boring, blah, 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 blah. In this book, we have our main character, Kaya, and again, like, I'm even remembering names of characters for the books I don't like. And she is born into this family. Her mom and her siblings kind of leave one day, and it's just her and her dad. He kind of sucks. He dies. And she's kind of like living on her own in this like crusty house in the marsh. And she like doesn't go to school. CPS kind of gets involved and tries to make her go to school, but then she like still doesn't go. So she doesn't get an education, doesn't learn how to read or do any of these things. And everybody in the town kind of like bullies her and like thinks she's just this weirdo girl who lives in the marsh. And then it's like flipping back timelines of like her as a kiddo and then her as an adult and everything. And basically there is this boy who shows up dead, and everybody in the town is kind of convinced that Kaya did it. And so we're kind of going on this wild goose chase to figure out if she did it, who could have did it. Are they framing her because everybody just doesn't like her? But it was just so boring, and it was a book that like maybe if I gave even 1% of a shit about Kaya, I would have liked it, but like I just didn't care about any of it. And the thing is my sister has DNF'd this book twice because it's boring. So I don't think it's just me that doesn't love it. I do think I'm being dramatic, of course, but like I don't think it's like my reasoning is really that wild. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit out of order because of we have like a 4-star and then a 5-star, but I like to do full pages for my 5 stars. So we'll do two like non-5 stars, and then we'll do my 5-star on the next page. So next up, I read Any Trope But You by Victoria something. Levine? Yeah, Levine. And this was a Afterlight book, which I've been really good about reading those. I'm like up to date besides the one that just came in the mail like a couple of days ago. And the quote I have is, and even when your plans are cast in stone and every piece of data points to one bleak conclusion, reckless hope is the last ember to fade into darkness. This book is about our main character. I gave this 4 stars, and she is a romance author who doesn't really believe in romance. I do have the Snow Deco in Silver Waves. She does not believe in romance really at all. She has had her heart broken one too many times, and now she kind of wants nothing to do with it. Which, you know what, that's understandable. However, she has been keeping kind of like a Google Doc of all of her thoughts on how romance isn't real and she doesn't believe in romance and whatever. It was just kind of like her personal diary to vent about how she's feeling about life, feeling about this, feeling about that. Nobody's supposed to ever read it besides her. Until somehow, some way, it gets out. And her fans learn that she's a phony baloney when it comes to being like somebody who loves love. That she actually doesn't enjoy romance and she thinks it's all fake. So she kind of gets canceled and her sister sends her on this trip to remote Alaska to start she's trying to write like I think a mystery book or something that's not romance. And there she starts to meet this guy named Forrest, if you remember that's his name. And she keeps getting into these situations with him that are just repeatedly different book tropes, like one bed tropes, trapped in a snowstorm trope, like all of these different tropes she keeps landing in with him. And she eventually, like, you know, starts to believe in love again. And not only that, but like through all of this, she's able to connect with her fans with what she's gone through and all of these different things as to like why she was feeling how she was feeling. It wasn't just this all of a sudden I hate love, that like she had been through some things that kind of knocked her down. And it was a really sweet story. I really enjoyed it. I think this is Victoria's debut novel, so I am excited to see what else she comes out with. Was this really like a particularly summary read? Absolutely not, but you'll see it's not my only non-summary read. Sometimes that's just where the wind takes you, and that's fine. Okay, next up we're gonna do Brain Damage by Frida McFaddy. That sounded funny. Where is it? Why am I not even seeing it on Goodreads? Like pretty, I think I gave it 3 stars, but I'm like actually not seeing it. Oh, it's because I have it sorted by date added, not by date read. Oh my gosh, that makes life so much easier. Yeah, I gave this 3 stars. So the quote, let me move past all these other quotes that are for a different book. So here's the quote. I just need to get out the box, the correct box size. Oh, so satisfying using up a sheet. The quote I have is, but maybe it was all worth it if it got me here. So this book is not like your typical Frida book. I would personally classify this more as a literary fiction mystery, kind of like, not nearly as good, but like same sort of realm as Mad Honey, where we're more so following these characters and their story. I do have the deco from my shop, the Dr. Deco in matte blue, rather than there being like this big crazy twist and all of these like wild outlandish things that tend to happen in Frida books. And this we have our main character, Charlie, what's her name? And she is a doctor, a dermatologist, living a pretty good life until one day she is at home and she gets shot in the head, simply. She gets shot right in the noggin, and she does not die though. She ends up with some pretty severe brain damage, like she can't walk, she has to relearn to walk, relearn to talk. And we're following her and her like progress at this treatment center for people, like a rehab center for people who have experienced brain damage. And that really is like the main component of this book, is we spend most of the book at the hospital with her, figuring out what happened, yes, which is like the mystery. And were there some twists and turns? Oh, absolutely. But we spend so much of the book getting to know her and getting to see her heal and get better and advance, and seeing her relationships with the different people at the hospital, who some she hated at the beginning, some she loved at the beginning, but getting to see how their relationships bend and change throughout her time in the hospital was like the main like thing in this book, in my opinion. I think that the mystery of like how this happened, why this happened, and who did it felt almost secondary to the actual like story of her and her journey here with this traumatic brain injury. I gave it 3 stars because I felt like it didn't know what it was trying to be, because it then it did have some like little wackadoodle twist at the end, but like overall it was just very different from anything I've really read from her before. And yeah, I personally didn't find it to be like some crazy thriller. Again, I think it felt more literary than anything. But that is Brain Damage. Next, we're gonna go into my first 5-star of the month, which was a memoir, which memoirs I do rate. I only rate them a 4 or a 5. A 4 is if it's like not knocking my socks off, and then a 5 is it knocked my socks off, you know what I mean? And the first one that I read was Nice Girls Don't Win by Parvati Shallow, which if you are a Survivor fan, you know her. You know the Black Widow herself. She did write a memoir. I couldn't find any quotes from the book, so I just did some famous Parvati quotes. So we have, you know how they say, you're only the king until your queen arrives. Well, I'm here. So we do have that. Then we have got this one, which is probably like what she's most famous for. It's like the Black Widow Brigade. Like all the girls are coming together and we're just spinning the guys around, just spinning them until they don't know which way is up, and then we devour them one at a time. And then we have got this one, which is, wow, are we gonna like finish up 3 sheets here? That's so satisfying. Everyone else is in this game like desperate to get rid of me, and they say I'm the most dangerous player. So I don't know, I guess they're right. So if you don't know, Parvati is, oh, this one's not gonna be the last one. She is been on Survivor, I think 3 times. She's been on The Traitors, she's been on Deal or No Deal Island, and I think she's currently actively on Survivor Australia. I am gonna use these gold stars as my deco, but getting to hear her story and getting to hear like her basically growing up in a cult was very shocking. This was all information I absolutely did not know about her, and just hearing like her growing up and all of that was quite wild. How she got onto Survivor, all of the things was just, it was all very fascinating for somebody who is obsessed with Survivor and has watched all the seasons, whatever. Is Parvati my favorite character or contestant ever to be on Survivor? No. I'm a Boston Rob girly, but I do quite like her, and I like her like ability to just like, if people are, she's like, they're gonna sexualize me, so I'm just gonna use it to my advantage, simply, which I am in full support of. Simply. But she's pretty famous from the show. I think it was her first season she was on. She and a bunch of the women on the show came up with this thing, and they were the Black Widow Brigade, and essentially the like move that got them so notorious was this other contestant won the challenge, and when you win the challenge you get an immunity necklace where like nobody can vote you off. You can also give it to somebody else, like if you think that somebody else is in trouble and you are not. They convinced him to give the immunity necklace to one of the girls and then voted him out, which was savage and crazy and honestly iconic if you ask me. I thought it was good shit. So that's kind of what she originally became super notorious for, was that particular move. And that's kind of what people know her for. And her just being kind of like a badass bitch at all times, which is honestly wonderful in my opinion. And yeah, I like Parv. I know a lot of people don't like her, but I'm a fan and I did enjoy her book. I thought it was quite entertaining, and yeah, I learned a lot of things about her that I absolutely did not know. So I think for me, that's like the point of reading a memoir, is getting to learn things about a person's life that you absolutely did not know before, and that it succeeded in that. My jaw was on the floor learning about her childhood and the cult that she grew up in, and being kind of like bullied at school for her name and all of these other things. But it was very good in my opinion. I've seen a lot of like actually negative reviews for it, so if you read it and you hated it, please tell me what you particularly like disliked. I'm obviously open to other people's opinions always. We're all allowed to think whatever we want, but just be respectful of the fact that I enjoyed it. And yeah, but I wanted to include her in her survivor journey, Deal or No Deal, and Traitors. So we have all of the different properties present, you know what I mean? So after that, we're gonna move into Scythe. Okay. Perfect. I don't have like a ton for Scythe. I literally have this, which just seemed like easier than me trying to find all of these different kinds of things. I'm gonna do one of these where we're gonna do half of it here and then the other half like this. Do need to get out a new sheet of box version 5. 3 and 5 are like my most used sizes for recipe. So the quote I have is, my greatest wish, let me pop it on the box first. The quote that I have is, my greatest wish for humanity is not for peace or comfort or joy. It is that we all still die a little inside every time we witness the death of another. For only the pain of empathy will keep us human. There's no version of God that can help us if we ever lose that. So this is, I also have some silver stars for this. This book is a YA dystopian book about a reality in which we have kind of outsmarted death. We have cured death. People no longer, I also have like this cool edition for it, so that's like the cover that I went with. Oh my god, that's so diagonal. Basically, society, okay, it's staying diagonal, no longer experiences natural death. So because of this, the Thunderhead, which is kind of like the cloud essentially, has come up with this profession called Scythes, and Scythe's profession is to glean people, which is to kill them essentially. And in this we follow our two people, Citra and Rowan, and they are both becoming Scythe apprentices. Neither of them necessarily want to become a Scythe, but they are chosen to be an apprentice, and you figure out why they decide to go along with it throughout the book. And yeah, there's some really fucked up things, and it's very interesting how like the Scythes choose their gleanings. Essentially, like, they look at statistics from like before this time, whenever natural death still occurred, and during that time, like X percentage of deaths were of children, so that's how many children they glean. X amount of deaths were due to like a plane crash, so they then have that many of those happen. X amount of deaths were because of like this sort of tragedy. So they basically like try to keep the percentages the same. You learn that there are many of different kinds of Scythes with different moral compasses, and oh, I did not give it 5. Why did I do that? I gave it 4 stars, but I did quite enjoy it, and I do highly recommend. After Scythe, which that's in my Tattoos Pick My TBR video, and I think that's in my mood reading video, or maybe, I don't really know. Next, I read Love Theoretically, which is in my Bookshop Scavenger Hunt video. I have the Science Deco in Confetti Orange, and yes, I have got an MIT deco, some fan art, and a diabetes awareness thingamabobberoo. because our main character is diabetic, I believe. But in this book, we've got our main character. She is a scientist, but as like a side gig to make extra money, she like is like a professional girlfriend where you can like pay a service for her to be your girlfriend. She goes to interview for this job, and the brother of one of the guys that's her regulars is interviewing her, and it's like this whole slippery situation because she doesn't want to expose the brother, but it's all making things awkward for her. The quote I picked is, "Have you considered that maybe you're already the way I want you to be, that maybe there are no signals because nothing needs to be changed?" I gave it 3 stars. I want to like Allie Hazelwood books more than I do. It's basically where I'm at. I gave Love, the pink science book, Not in Love, Love on the Brain, I don't know, the pink one, not the blue one, not the orange one, but the pink one. I gave that one 4 stars, and I gave Check and Mate 5 stars, but I've given the other 2 STEM novels 3 stars, Love Theoretically and The Love Hypothesis. I gave both of those 3 stars, and I haven't read anything else by her because I'm not like an erotica girly, so Not in Love doesn't really appeal to me. I don't like age gap, so Problematic Summer Romance doesn't appeal to me. I've heard that the Deep End is quite spicy, so that also doesn't appeal to me. So I don't really know where I stand with Miss Allie, but I've met Allie. She is so kind, so I'll probably continue to just support her because I like her as a person. So we're gonna give this 3 stars because that's unfortunately where it landed for me. It's so funny. I think every single bookshelf scavenger hunt I've ever done, the book has gotten 3 or less star rating, which is honestly tragic. But yeah, I think with these STEM novels, since they are kind of like copy paste of each other, I feel like everybody just has the one that they gravitate to most, and I honestly don't think for many people it's the pink one, but I just loved the pink one because I loved Bee as a character. I just thought that she was good shit. Like, I don't even remember these characters' names, but like I remember Bee's name being Bee because I loved her. So it's just kind of like my 2 cents on this one. It was fine. Again, those 3 stars, they really like just don't stick with me. That's how I know that the 3-star rating is correct. Like sometimes I'll be like, should it have been a 4? And then I'm like, how much of it like really stuck with you? And I'm like, it's definitely a 3, baby. So there is that. Moving on. Next I read Till Summer Do Us Part, which was an interesting one. Very mixed thoughts in our book club about this book. The quote that I picked is, "This isn't a story about me falling in love with another human. This is a story about me falling in love with myself." Which we love. So this is about our main girl. It's kind of like a, I want to say it's Stevie. But no, I can't remember, but it's really gonna bother me. Scotty. It's about our main character, Scotty, and I think the guy's name is Wilder. Yeah. So this is about Scotty, and Scotty has recently got divorced. She works at this office where everybody is happily married, and she thinks they're like, she's kind of bitter because she's going through it, and she's like, they're basically like a cult. I hate them, da 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 da. So she is kind of confronted, and she makes up this lie that she's married, and they're like, no, you're not, you don't wear a ring, blah 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 blah, which all of it is very like weird for anybody at work to like say that to somebody, but I digress. She lies, and her boss, she basically says like, oh yeah, like we've like kind of been on the rocks this past year, we're working on things, that's why I'm not wearing my ring. Her boss like pulls her to the side and is basically like, my husband is this like renowned marriage counselor, like he would be so happy to see you guys if you like want to talk to somebody, blah blah blah. So she tells her like best friends about this, and one of her friends is like, oh my god, my brother is bored. You find out that his brother is like this super rich tech mogul who made it big when he sold his like soda rating app. And so he agrees to pretend to be her boyfriend, her husband, to go to this marriage counseling situation where they end up getting roped to going to like this relationship retreat situation with all of her coworkers, and all of this wild drama ensues. This book is, and I agree, I'm using the Kisses deco from my shop in pink hearts. Some of the people in my book club, specifically my friend Emily, who is a psychologist, she could not get past the levels, like just when you think the book has reached maximum unethical, it outdoes itself every time. Everywhere you look, it's becoming more and more unethical. As somebody who's not like in that field of study, I was able to kind of just read it for what it was and look past it, but it was not something that she could look past, and it was just so obnoxious to her the whole time. So because of that, she hated the book. I thought the book was hilarious. I think that Wilder was an extremely hilarious character. And yeah, I personally could not get past how he looked because he had a lip ring as well as some other piercings. But I just personally, if you think lip rings are so sexy, go off, girl. I'm so happy for you. I think they're disgusting. And so to me, I'm like, he's literally not even cute the whole time. The whole time. But I did read it, and that was for my mood reading video. Then for a reading gifted books video, I read Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake, which I'm glad I liked. I gave it 4 stars because I did not love the first Ashley Herring Blake book that I read. I thought it was very mid. But we got a pretty chunk-tastic quote. I did give this 4 stars. I'm going to be using the wedding deco from my shop in light purple. But the quote I have is, my whole life, this is what I've wanted. A best friend. Someone who gets me, who accepts me. Someone who fights like hell to get me to see that they love me. Someone who lets me love them back. Someone who's so goddamn beautiful she makes my toes curl. Someone who calls me on my bullshit. Someone who makes me laugh. Someone who makes me look at her like this and looks at me the same way. Someone who's my home. I think Amazon's here. But anywho, this book is about our main character Delilah. She has basically been called in by her estranged stepsister. Yeah, her estranged stepsister Astrid to photograph her wedding. Astrid and her don't have the best relationship, but she reluctantly agrees to come do this for her. And on her first night in town, she is at the bar and this girl approaches her and starts hitting on her. And Delilah instantly knows who it is. It is Claire, who is one of her sister's friends. And she's like, absolutely no way that she's hitting on me right now. This has to be fake. Because they've known each other since they were kids. Only Claire does not recognize Delilah, and she kind of like makes it her mission to like hook up with her. Through this though, you learn through the friends, Claire and Iris, that Astrid is not like this guy that she's marrying. She barely knows him. They don't seem right for each other. Not a fan. Nobody likes him. He's good for nothing. And so then they all kind of start working together to sabotage this wedding, and I just thought it was so fun. I gave it 4 stars. I do have the other books. The only thing is like with the second book, mild spoiler, I don't really think it's a spoiler because you know that this is the second book in the series, being about Astrid, you kind of know that they're going to succeed at like ruining her wedding. But I do have the wedding deco from my shop again. This time I'm doing it in light purple because she is there to photograph the wedding. That's the whole reason. She comes into town and reconnects with Claire, but they were so cute together. They like really balanced each other out super well, and I just really enjoyed them as characters. Claire is also a single mother, and so you get to like hear a lot about that and about her relationship with her baby daddy and her being bisexual, and you know, it was just a good story. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good one. and I do recommend. But I need to change my battery, and you're about to cut me off anyway, so I'm gonna finish up this and then go grab whatever package Amazon just dropped off, and we'll be right back. Y'all, I just got so many packages in the mail, but I'm using them as a reward for when I get this video done, so I can't open them yet. So, okay, we can do another splitty poo here for our next couple of books. The first one we're gonna go over is Ruthless, Vows by Rebecca Ross. I really can't talk too much about this book because anything I say is a spoiler for the first book. So the quote I have is, "Write me a story where there is no ending, Kit. Write to me and fill my empty spaces." So this is book 2 in the Ruthless, Vows, or no, the Divine Rivals duology. I don't really know what the series is called. Does it say? The Letters of Enchantment duology. This book sucked compared to the first one. I gave this 2 stars, I believe. Oh no, I gave it 3 stars. Feels like a 2 now. Do I change it to a 2? I'm changing it to a 2 because that's how it feels in my heart. Book 1 was a 4. I really liked book 4, and I'm going to be using the Writer Deco in Gold Waves. But so book 1 we talked about last month was so good, and like, yeah, I'm not really a fantasy person, so YA fantasy tends to be what works for me. I loved the story, I loved the romance, I loved everything about it. I thought the pacing was exceptional. It was fairly short, just barely, like a little over 300 pages. It felt like it got to the point without being too wordy. I just so deeply enjoyed book 1, and then book 2 just felt so boring and repetitive over and over and over again, like the same shit over and over and over and over again. And truly, I think I would have rather just left off on the cliffhanger of book 1 and not read it because it was just so disappointing. So disappointing. I think that I'm not the odd one out on that, though. I do think from what I've seen on the internet that is kind of the consensus. Maybe not for the reasons I've just said, but I do think the consensus is that book 2 did not live up to book 1. But in it, we've got like our 2 main characters. Kit is the dude. The girl's name is escaping me at the moment. And they both have these like magical typewriters that are kind of like linked to each other, which you find out all about in book 1. And there's this war going on at the end of book 1. Some attacks happen and they get separated. And book 2 is all about like what's happening. It's like much more like war driven, whereas book 1 was very much like about the typewriters and the magic of it all and them getting to the war and the point that they are. They're both like different newspaper reporters and competing for like spots on the paper and working for rivaling companies. But I don't know, I just thought that this one was really, really boring, and I did not like it really at all. I don't really have anything all that nice to say about it. I'm going to keep it in my collection because I did really enjoy book 1, and I don't want to only own the first book. Like, my goal is like when I have friends visit, if they're staying at my house, oh, you don't need to pack a book. I got all of these books that are great for you to read. So I'm going to hold on to it, but just know it was not my favorite. Then I read another one of my Afterlight books. I'm going to use these pink hearts, and it was Love in Focus by Lila Sage. I need more box 4. Box 4, box 4, box 4, 4, 4. Don't let it stop. Here it is. There's so many on this sheet because they're so small. The quote I have is this one. This is another sapphic romance. Says, "The beauty of being bi, I learned, is that you can get rejected by both men and women." I thought that was funny. There actually was not a ton of quotes on Goodreads to pick from, and I was not trying to have to go through the book. That did not sound fun to me. Okay, so in this, we've got our 2 girly paparoonies. They're both Asian, and they dated in college. And they were always talking about Korean food, so I have this like thing here of like a bunch of Korean food. And basically they dated in college. One of them is a writer for a magazine, one of them is a photographer, and one of them, I forget their names, Gemma and Celeste. I keep forgetting who is who. I think that's Gemma, that's Celeste. Gemma moves back to Korea, I believe, to deal with some life stuff, and she is not very, like, she doesn't really explain to the other one, Celeste, as to why she is leaving. She felt very abandoned. They broke up. It's years later, and they're having to work together now for work and kind of, like, face the issues that they never really discussed back in the day in college when they dated. And I thought that it was a really good second chance romance. I love second chance romance when it is done right. When it is right person, wrong time. Nothing like horrible happens between them. Nothing's worse than when you're reading a second chance romance and you're like, yeah, y'all should have stayed broken up. And that's not how I felt reading this. Like, I felt like the reasons that they broke up were understandable, especially being like young college students figuring out life, dealing with like real life tragedies and families and XYZ. So when they were like figuring out their relationship and coming back together, I found it so easy to root for them and to root for their love and to want to see them work things out and get back together. And I think because of that, it made the book so interesting. One of them, I believe, identifies as bisexual, and one of them, I believe, just identifies as a lesbian, and it was a really cute story. I quite enjoyed it, and yeah, gave it 4 stars. Next, I think we're gonna go with, we're gonna have to go a little bit on the Warner again. I do apologize, just because of the, I'll put my 5-star on that page, just so that we can do, we'll keep it in order for as long as we can. I'm so bad at figuring out like where the middle is. Maybe? Okay. So next we have Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monahan. It's my second book by her. I quite liked it. I believe I gave it 4 stars. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I don't know. I don't think I have any of this box currently out for me. So we have got, if you own up to not being perfect, life gets easier. Honestly, I need to work on that because I am in fact a perfectionist. But I have the movie deco here in Lime Hollow, which is super fun. And this book is about our main character, Nora, and she is a screenwriter. And basically, she has written a story about her life and her divorce and what she's been going through. And like, honestly, she's not particularly heartbroken over the divorce. Like, it was kind of for the best type of a situation. But as they're working on the play, people are kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like weird that like the female main character, aka Nora herself, does not give a shit about like this divorce, blah blah blah. She's kind of forced to face the reality of her life. And in that, the main male character, who's technically playing her ex-husband, he kind of wants to get a bit of an escape from his life. So he ends up staying at her home for a couple of weeks, and they kind of build this relationship with each other by watching sunrises on the porch, chatting, learning about each other's lives, and so on and so forth. And she's able to see like what a man who shows up not only for her but for her children really is like, because her ex-husband is not there for his kids. He does not show up to their sports practices and their plays and their school events. He's very like, he just doesn't show up for his kids. And so for this like man who's not their dad but like this famous actor to do that for her family and to show her all of these things, she's able to really like put into perspective the things she wants out of life. And they build this relationship. There's the dumbest 3rd act breakup, if I'm being honest with you. It really pissed me off. It almost made it not get down a star because the 3rd act breakup was indeed fucking stupid. But I really enjoyed the story. There were parts that nearly brought me to tears, and I really do enjoy Annabelle's writing and her books, and I like that they're quite short, to the point. And yeah, I quite enjoyed Nora Goes Off Script. This is where we're gonna flip the order a little bit because the next book is a 5-star, but I obviously don't have room for it right here. So we're gonna just do the next one after that, which Nora Goes Off Script is in my these were all in my new mood reading vlog. The next one is Keep It in the Family, and this is going to be in the Caitlin Picks My Reads vlog. This is the we're only ever our true selves when we think we are alone, and this is for Keep It in the Family by John Mars. I do have the mystery deco in Blue Pebble. This is the book, if you're on in any Facebook groups about books, if you're a thriller reader, you know about the famous chapter in this book where the whole chapter is just fuck. But this is about this couple, and they are in the process of buying a new home. They have been living with their in-laws, even though they kind of truly suck asshole. Like, the in-laws are awful. They're awful to the wife, whatever, because she's having a hard time getting pregnant, and they think he should have stayed with his ex and all this nonsense. So they move into the house where they find some cryptic writing on like a baseboard, basically saying like, we'll protect them or I'll save them in the attic or something weird to that effect. And when they go up to the attic, they do find some disturbing things that I will let you discover while reading this. Where are my little star thingies? My little star strips. Oh no. I'll always be doing this nonsense. Where did they go? Where'd you go? I missed you so. Seems like it's been forever that you've been gone. And this is why I end up with like 5,000 sheets started. Well, I guess we're starting another one because I'm not spending 8 years looking for it. But they find some stuff up there, and then the wife finds out she is actually pregnant, has the baby early because of some circumstances, and it's about her trying to like get to the bottom of the stuff in the attic, which again, I don't want to say anything because it's all a spoiler, but it was very good, and I'm very intrigued to read more from John Mars, especially because I've really fallen out of love with the thriller genre. Over the last year, I've just been finding them all to be cringe-tastic and stupid. So the fact that I was able to find not a 5-star, but a 4-star for a thriller for me these days is like exceptional. So I was pretty happy about it. I'm still happy about it. And yeah, I know that he has some kind of like more dystopian leaning books as well that I'm intrigued to go with. Also have a pregnancy test and like a creepy attic I thought would be on theme for this book. So yeah, that is gonna be Keep It in the Fam. Next we had Taming 7, which is by far my most shocking read of the month because I gave it 5 stars. This is the first and only book in the Boys of Taming series to receive a 5-star rating from me. I have thought pretty much all of the books in this series have been too long, kind of boring, very repetitive, blah blah blah. Claire and Gibbsy, I was dreading their story. I was like, I do not give a fuck about these characters, don't care, don't want to read it, but I'm so deep in this series now, I've got to keep going. And yeah, I sobbed. I actually sobbed reading this, and I didn't think I cared about them, but I cared. So we've got 3 quotes because it is a 5-star, so it gets more quotes. And I also have the school deco because they are in high school. But the first quote I have is, being happy was a decision I made for myself, and miraculously it helped. It wasn't real. I didn't truly feel that way, but I was a firm believer in faking it until you made it. After all, I would be dead without the sentiment. And then these two are both like kind of long, so I like ordered them for the really big box, but they're also kind of skinny, so I may do some box surgery. This is what we call box surgery. You cut it in half and then you make it to the size you need it to be. You know, it's just sometimes you gotta make it work the best you can. So, start with this one. Oh no! Hannah Marie. Hannah fucking Marie. I just ripped the quote in half. Why am I like this? Why do I come at everything like a crazy person? it was perfectly cut. I'm not sure why I like have to be so intense all the time. Okay. I'm sweating. I'm already kind of warm from having my heated blanket on. I had to turn it off even though like I feel like absolute dog shit and the last thing I wanted to do was turn it off, but it had to happen. But now I'm just like sweating and it's not going well with my damaged quote. Okay. But basically what I mean by doing sticker surgery is I'm just like making this box shorter. Like just as long as it was, but like just shorter. You know, that'll be kind of like the vibe. I'm just gonna actually we'll just toss it in now somewhere because I obviously am falling apart. This quote says, "He had darkness in his life and so much pain, but he kept the most beautiful, sunny disposition about him. It was incredibly humbling to be around that boy, to know all he had endured in his short-lived life, and that he still woke up with a smile on his face in the morning." Literally devastation. Devastation is how I feel about this book. Okay. One thing that's tricky is that these boxes do in fact have like a grid on them, so that part's a little funky-tastic, but I literally don't care. Andrea, if you're watching, I need a box that's this long but skinnier. Thank you. Then we have this quote that says, "It's all good though. Some of the best things in life aren't meant to last forever. That's why we cherish them when they happen. Like your favorite chocolate in the box or a shooting star. We don't refuse to eat that sweet because once we do, it'll be gone, or stop looking at that star after one shoots by. We enjoy the moment because we know it's worth living in." So those are the quotes we have for Taming 7, which is really devastating. This one looks really bad, so I am going to put the book here to kind of like cover up my really bad spacing. And then we will toss in some school deco and our rating. We'll start with our rating. Where do we want to pop her? I think I'll pop it up here. 5 stars, simply. Like, I did not expect to sob, and this book made me hate Lizzie so much, so I'm not really sure what could happen in the next book to make me like her, and I already know all the discourse about the next book and all that it entails. I do not personally, like, thankfully have any triggers regarding those things, so I think I'll be okay reading it. I mean, I'm not gonna like enjoy it from what I've heard, but I can get through it without it impacting me in like a big negative way. But this whole series, for sure, trigger warnings up the wazoo. I did notice that at least at my Barnes & Noble, they have moved Boys of Tommen out of the YA section, which I think is the correct choice. I don't know what about it, other than them being teenagers, ever would have prompted them to put it in the YA section, because it definitely didn't go there at all. There was never a time in which it felt like a YA book to me. It's always been very dark, horrible themes, horrible things discussed, and I do think that there is a place in this world for those like type of things to be able to be talked about in books, because they are real things that happen, and I know a lot of people who are victims of these situations, survivors of these situations, deserve to be represented in books as well. But just go into them knowing your triggers and reading the trigger warnings if you have any. We're definitely gonna have to do some major jumping around here because I have multiple 5 stars coming up. So what do we have next on my thing? We did that, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's not too bad of jumping around, actually, now that I look at it. Next we're gonna do, this was also in the video where my friend Caitlin picked my reads, If You Tell a Lie by Lucinda Berry. which I did give 3 stars. It was like fine, nothing to really like write home about. I don't love a thriller that takes place at a summer camp, or like it's us now as an adult like reflecting back on something that happened when we were at summer camp as a kid. I don't know, that like micro trope is just does not really ever work for me. So the quote that I have here is this one. We'll pop it on here. Finishing up a sheet, baby. So the quote I have is do you know how freeing it is to live in a world where you didn't give a fuck what people thought about you, especially as a woman? There's no better feeling on the planet. At least I haven't found one yet. And I have the mystery deco here in Mixed Autumn. And the deco that I have is this, which is just a like summer camp cabin. It's about these women who, it's like a, I don't know, 4 or 5 women's point of views who met at summer camp, this like camp for like smart kids that they all went to and really bonded there because they were all kind of bullied at school for being smart, and something happened and essentially their past is coming back to haunt them. They all got these letters in this mail threatening to expose what had happened, and none of them want that to happen, so they get together even though they haven't seen each other in quite a few years to talk about things. There were some pretty good twists. I saw a lot of them coming, but I don't know if it's because they were obvious or because I've just at this point read so many thrillers that nothing really shocks me anymore. So I think I'm leaning more into like paranormal horror as like a genre rather than thriller, because I think most mysteries are just so obvious these days. But again, it could be just that like I read too many of them and now I just am a detective, period. I have like a degree in being a detective from reading so many books. I also consume a lot of true crime content in general, so I do feel like due to that, a lot of things in these types of books are just obvious to me. So that's just a little bit of my 2 cents, but I do think that this orange looks so fun with this like book with like the pops of orange. I do quite enjoy. So down here, we're gonna skip forward to the Christmas tree farm, which I did fuck up on the deco, but we're just gonna live with it. I was not redoing it for myself, if I'm being honest with you. This was, I think, also, this was a 4-star read. This is my favorite book so far in this series. This is the the Dream Harbor series. And this book quote says, "The lies we tell ourselves are often stronger than the truth. They worm their way into our hearts and our minds until they're all we see and believe." So this book is another book in this series in this small little town of Christmassy things. And okay, our main character, she recently purchased the Christmas tree farm in this small town. However, she hates Christmas, is kind of being a Scrooge and kind of making enemies with everybody in the town. She is not being friendly. She's not participating in town meetings and whatever. So one of the other people in town kind of befriends her and is helping her out, you know, and it was just like a cute little, it felt very much like a Hallmark Christmas movie, if I'm being honest with you. But I had a fun time with it. I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed the Christmassy vibes, especially in August, because I just am a Christmas girl, okay? Christmas is my holiday. I'm a Halloween hater and a Christmas lover. I would skip right on over Halloween and put up my Christmas decorations in October if that wouldn't be something I'd be judged for. But it is, so I don't. But I thought it was a fun time. It was way less spicy than the other books in the series, and I do have some Christmas little deco in dots that I'm going to put in here. This is where I fucked up. I accidentally forgot that this was sitting there and let it cool, which then the foil didn't peel very well, but it is what it is. It looks fine. So yeah, it was a cute one. I enjoyed it. The series is like kind of mid to me, but the covers are really cute, so I continue to buy it and continue to read it because they're not bad. They're just like whatever. And I don't mind a whatever book here and there. as long as all the books I read aren't, whatever. So that's that one. Then I'm going to move into Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. We've got all of our quotes here. We've got 3 of them. We have got this one. This is the last book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and this is about Dusty and Camille. The first one I have is I'll Love You Till We're Dust, Camille Ashwood. This is second chance childhood friends to lovers, done in the most perfect of ways. I loved everything about it. I mean, I gave it 5 stars. It's my 3rd favorite out of 4, so it's not like super high rating, but ranking. But I mean, I gave 3 out of the 4 books 5 stars. So saying that, it's like, take that with a grain of salt. It was still really, really good. This is about Camille and Dusty. Camille is a single mom. I love Riley. Riley's character is great, and oh, they were just made for each other, truly. And getting to like get the past timeline of them as like in high school was just so good. This quote says, "The bravest thing you can do when you love someone is to work hard to keep them, to hold them with everything you've got, and even when you loosen your grip, you don't let go." And then this quote, really, the next one, really embodies the book and like gives me the little goosies whenever I read it. It says, "Dusty was my first everything, not just in a first love way. He was my first real friend. He was the first person who cared enough to get to know me, who peeled back the layers I had drawn around myself and liked what they saw. He made me want to like myself too." Oh, I just love them so very much. I'm literally sweating so bad. So we have got some fan art of them, of course, had to include that. And then I also have, I'm trying to figure out which ones of these things are, where does this go? Does this go here? No, okay. There's a whole big discussion about blue raspberry flavored things. So we have that there, and I have like wedding rings as tattooed on. I love how that looks in there. We'll pop this in here like this. We'll pop some tomatoes up here like this. And then we'll toss in our other quotes. Pop one down here. Boom. Put the little one here. Bada bing, bada bing, motherfucker. And I'll grab the book and put it here. It's just so good. It's just such a good series. It's my favorite cowboy romance series, and I am reading currently Chestnut Springs, and I just like don't like it as much. You know what I mean? Like sometimes if you know, you know. You just know when you love something. And maybe it's because Rebel Blue was my first cowboy romance. It just holds a space in my heart. But I do really love her. And then I have the cowboy deco from my shop in pink tie-dye. But yeah, it's just great. And they were just great together, and he really made her love herself. When you get to like see growing up like how unsupportive, why did I say that like that? Unsupportive her family was towards her, and how his family, oh my god, there was this whole like storyline about how like his family could kind of tell that like nobody at home was supporting Camille, that like her family did not show up for her in any meaningful way, so they always showed up for her. And oh my god, did it make me want to sob for her. It was just so sweet, so romantic, and they're just literally made for each other. And oh, I just love them. They're so cute and so pure. And like there was this one scene where Camille was just like dead tired, and Riley got like Dusty to come help her make herself some cereal, and like then he just kind of like stayed and took care of her so that Camille could just rest. And oh my god, I loved next we're gonna do a little splitty poo here. Another little splitty poo before we get into another 5-star rating. So next up we have have got Wellraveled by Delilah, which is the final book in the Well Met series, which I'm actually quite sad to be done with. It's this cute little Renaissance fair story. This story is about Lulu, and she is the cousin of the male main character in book 3, who is in all of the books. And she is a high-power attorney, and she just keeps getting passed up to become partner at her law firm for like all of the bros, and she's kind of sick of it. So she quits her job and finds a love for the Renaissance fair. And it was just so good seeing her find herself. The quote I have is, "I wasn't ready for this to be over, but I didn't have a choice. Dex had made that clear. What was between us was finite, and time marched on. I had no right to ask for more." So I have like this little Ren fair situation there, and she like gets a job working with like the tarot card readers and all of like the fortune tellers. And it was just so fun to get to like read about that part of the Renaissance fair. I deeply want to go to a Renaissance fair. I don't know if you guys know of when that occurs around Austin or in the Central Texas area. Let me know, because simply I must go to one. I must go. I don't want to eat a turkey leg, but I do want to like be there because it just seems amazing. So I'm gonna give this 4 stars. The whole series, I gave every book 4 stars. I love Delilah. I've read one other book by her, Haunted Ever After. I think that's literally all of her books, and I've given every book by her 4 stars. She's good shit. I have the Ren Fair doodles from my shop in light purple because it literally matches the book cover perfectly. But yeah, I just am such a fan of this series. I think it is so fun. It's just so fun, and sometimes, well, all of the time for me personally, books don't have to be like this masterpiece. They literally just have to be fun. And that's what this was. It was just a hee hee ha ha silly good time. That's what I wanted it to be. It's what it was. And if you can take it for that, then like hell yeah, you know what I mean? So it's kind of where I am landing with this glorious series, and I'm sad that it's over. I truly am. But that's all for that. And then I did read Beneath the Stars by, what's her name? This one? It's actually not what I read left. I'm going to use Cotton Candy actually for this. But this is by Emily McIntyre, and this book I gave 3 stars. I'm actually quite disappointed with this book, and it fell victim to something that does happen on occasion. So this is about our 2 main characters, and essentially it's like her best friend's brother. She is like this girl, and these 2 kids move in across the street next door in her neighborhood. They are 2 foster children who get adopted, and they essentially, does all of this go with this book? Let me just make sure. But I never had Dance Studio. Yep, okay. So they all kind of like become friends. They end up, their mother, their like biological mother, she struggled deeply with addiction, and that's why her kids got taken away, put up for adoption, and they both kind of like struggle with a lot of feelings regarding that, which is completely fair. And the male character, like the sister, has some like pretty serious issues, and they get together, and then he goes off to college. He's like a year or 2 older than her. She stays back, obviously, and there are some things that happen that cause them to break up, and now it's years later. They're adults. He has not been back to the hometown in a long time because of how things ended with her, and he's coming back to essentially take over his adopted father's company, his construction company, and they're doing construction on the dance studio that she is working on. So they're forced back together. The issue is, for me with this book, is they were in a friend group with this guy Jackson, and I loved him so much, and like he had a crush on our female main character. She knew it the whole time, but she friend zoned him. But the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, he literally treats you better. You should be with him. So I just like was not rooting for the male lead the entire time because I simply wanted her to be with the other guy, which is unfortunately something that can happen when you have that kind of not like love triangle, because she literally did not even entertain this other guy remotely, but like my brain entertained him. My brain was like, yeah girl, he treats you like a queen, go for him. And then she just like obviously didn't, because that wasn't the point of the story, and I was just like, you're fucking stupid. And the reason, this also fell a little bit into the camp of the reason they broke up, I kind of agreed with and didn't necessarily want to see them back together. So I do have the rest of the series, and I do plan to continue, because it wasn't an issue with the writing or anything. It was literally an issue with the characters of this book particularly, which some of my favorite series, there are just some couples I don't like. So it's all good. Then we had my first and probably only reread that I'm going to do of the year. I'm not a big rereader, but I did reread The Measure, which is my favorite book of all time, and I sobbed for a while. The quotes that I have here is, once you know something, you forget what it was like to not know it. And then we have got this one, which is The Great American Writer Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "It is not the length of life, but the depth of it. You don't need a long time to make an impact on this world. You just need the will to do it." And this one. At the beginning and that the beginning and the end may have been chosen for us, the string already spun, but the middle has always been left undetermined to be woven and shaped by us. So, if you do not know, The Measure is a dystopian novel that takes place in modern time America, where one day everybody wakes up, and if you're over the age of, I believe, 22, you wake up with a wooden box at your door, and inscribed on the wooden box is the like, something about like the length of your life like lies within, and inside the box is a string, and the string inside the box, they learn over time, is an exact representation of how long you are going to live. People are faced with this decision. Do they want to open the box? Do they not want to open the box? Do they care what's inside it? Is it ethical to make people look at the box? How are people being treated that are what are referred to as quote unquote short stringers, quote unquote long stringers? How is that impacting people's mental well-being, their jobs, equality? How is it affecting politics, the military? And we go through all of these 8 different points of view, really diving into all of these different things. And as somebody who has, like, this is not like a woe is me, my life is so hard situation, but like, I feel like I've personally experienced like a lot of loss in my life. Like, I have lost, I think my first experience with a death was when my aunt died when I was 7. And then I had my grandfather die when I was in high school. My other aunt died while I was in high school. My mom died when I was 21. One of my best friends died this year. My grandma passed away this year. Like, I just feel like the amount of death I have unfortunately like experienced, this book just hits so hard, especially because most of the people I have lost, I'm gonna use these gold stars, have been what in this book would be referred to as short stringers. People who string ends before like a particular age, and before they even get a chance to be old. And so getting to reading this book, like seeing how like life would have been if like people knew that they were gonna die, is just wild. Like the things that they do, like seeing people go to the hospital who know that they have a long string and they're going in for these crazy surgeries and not being scared because they're like, well, I have a long string, so I know no matter what the surgery is going to work out. Or seeing people go to the hospital in a panic because they're like, I'm completely healthy, but I have a short string. What's going to happen to me? And then seeing people who are choosing to just like not look at all is just very fascinating to me. And like, there's this one big part about the book that's like, about dating and how like it's really impacting whether people want to get into relationships with people, because like you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. And there's this whole sentiment that like short stringers were still short stringers even before we like had the strings to tell us. You just went into these commitments, into these marriages, into these pacts with people, devoting your life to them without knowing. All the strings are doing is letting you really maximize your time with them, and it just makes me emotional. So we're gonna move on. The measure is 5 stars. It'll always be 5 stars no matter how many times I read it. Favorite book of all time. Highly recommend. If you have not read it, just read it. Just do it. Just do it. Okay. Next, I read Fahrenheit 182 by Mark Hoppus. It's his memoir. Oh my god. I thought I gave this 5 stars. I actually gave it 4 stars. So now I have like a bunch of quotes for it and I don't need all of them. That's fine. I'll toss 2 of them. It's all good. So, Mark Hoppus, he is the lead singer of Blink-182. If you were unaware, that is in fact who he is. And he's the bass player, and this is his memoir. And the quote I have is, "What are the odds? 1 in a million, that's fine. 1 in a million happens to me all the time." So it's literally just about his life before Blink-182, the come up of Blink-182, and his recent, within like, it happened around COVID times, within the last 5 years, he had cancer. And so there is a big portion of the book that is talking about his cancer diagnosis and how it actually helped bring the band back together. You hear all about the band breaking up, what happened with that, with Tom leaving the band, all the things. And yeah, as a Blink-182, sorry guys, as a Blink-182 fan, I quite liked the book. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't the most like memorable memoir I've ever read. It's not like, wasn't the most fascinating. I think also I read Travis Barker's memoir and it was more interesting. So I gave it 4. But yeah, still very, very good. Nothing to really complain about with it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, a jelly bean. It's so weird seeing Travis Barker with hair though. Like, it's just really bizarre. So I think I'm gonna change my shirt. My camera's about to cut me off, and when I come back in a different outfit, just know that's why. We're gonna use this music deco. Obviously, it makes sense for Blink-182 because they're a band to use music related things. At least for me. I have seen Blink-182 twice, and yeah, they're a blast. Their shows are really funny. They really like bounce off of each other, and I do highly recommend, if you ever get the opportunity to see them, to definitely do it. And at one of the concerts that I went to, Mark Hoppus gave me his guitar pick, and it was one of the coolest moments of my life. So I'm gonna pause, change, and I'll be right back. We got Jimmy B, baby. Okay, feel much better now. Again, we're gonna bop a little bit out of order and go with Business Casual next by BK Borison, which is like fine. This whole series is kind of just like so beyond mid to me. It's about a female tattooer, which is pretty cool. The quote I have is, "I've always liked flowers best. They're pretty but more resilient than people give them credit for." So for this, I do have like this female tattoo artist, which was perfect, I thought, for this book. And then Forget-Me-Nots is a flower that is mentioned quite a few times in the book, so we did put those in here. We'll grab our quote. But yeah, besides book 2, I've given all of them 3 stars, and book 2 was like barely a 4-star. Barely. So like, I don't particularly like, it's just so mid. I have a hard time recommending it. It's not like bad, but I just think there's really nothing special about it as far as small town romance series goes. It just isn't doing anything for me. And at least like the Dream Harbor series, the covers are so cute that it makes you want to like buy them and stuff. Like, these covers are cute, but they're like honestly kind of average. So I don't know. I don't think it's like that stellar of a series. I do have some flower deco here in lime. Does not really match, but I was going with foil that I already had cut, and this is what I had. So it's what we're using. Truly, that's the reason. And that reason is fine by me. Oh my god, why did I just give it 4 stars? No. Goodbye. Not 4. For sure 3. I feel like I was talking about the other one being barely a 4-star. Honestly, the amount of things that are probably wrong in this journal because I'm just not paying attention is actually kind of crazy. Okay, good enough. Then we'll go into a 5-star read, which is going to be Hideaway, Heart. I was like, what is that? I get it now. Okay, so we have this whole series I think is criminally underrated. If I'm being so for real with you right now, I just genuinely think of all the books that are like so fucking hyped up, all of like the little romance series that are so hyped up, this one deserves way more hype. This is the Cherry Tree Harbor series. I gave this book 5 stars. I gave book 1 4 stars. Honestly, in retrospect, probably could have given it a 5. We've got our quotes here. This is about our main girl. She's a country music star, and basically some people on her team kind of like sold her out, and so now she kind of just needs some time away. She fired her whole security team, and her brother hires one of his best friends from the military to come and stay with her. She doesn't want him to be there. I hate bodyguard romances. This is still 5 stars. This is way spicier than I want to read a book. Still 5 stars. Because the story was just that good. It just goes to show you that any book can be 5 stars, no matter what the tropes, no matter what the spice level is for me, as long as the actual story is really good. And the story was just so good. I loved them together. I loved seeing her like get to experience small town life and get away, and she was just good shit. It was just good shit. I loved it, and I think that the series deserves more hype. And the quotes that I have is, long after we've turned out the lights, got under the covers and reached for each other in the dark, her words stayed with me. I liked being her safe place. There's a big like theme in this book of her like constantly not feeling safe around people, like she's being used, XYZ. Her record company won't let her produce her own music that she wants to produce, won't let her perform under her real name, and she just feels like very out of control, and like it just feels like not protected. And it's a lot about him making her feel safe, and oh, I love that. The next quote is, I mean it. I feel the same way as you, the same way you do. And I agree, all those reasons you listed why this might not work are valid, but just the distance, the time apart won't be easy, but I can't walk away from you without a fight. And I think if you meet someone you have feelings for, especially to the point where it scares you, it's worth at least trying to make it work. What do you have to lose? Ugh, all of them, so good. The book, so good. The series, so good. Book 1 was a age gap nanny romance. If that's your cup of tea, that's what book 1 was. I don't know what the rest of the books are, but I own them all because I bought book 1 because of the cute sprayed edges, and I was like, well, I don't want to risk loving it and then not being able to get the rest of them with the sprayed edges, because I think it's just like they were doing one run of the sprayed edges. So I was like, simply gotta get them all. And glad I did, because I think probably it's gonna be like Done and Dusted, where I gave book 1 4 stars, and the rest of them will be 5 stars. And this is a 5-book series, so I'm thrilled about the journey we're gonna go on. So I do have the book cover here, Hideaway Heart, and I have the music deco again, this time in hollow pink flowers. The cover of the book is pink. But yeah, I just think that this series, this is I think my favorite page actually so far this month. I think this is coming out really freaking cutie pie honey bunch. I don't really like that sexy picture up there, so I'm gonna kind of cover it up because it's kind of scaring me a little. But yeah, do you guys have any underrated like small town romance series? This series though, the covers on Goodreads are like Scary Man covers. Like I had to go in and change the edition because That's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing to me. But yeah, I am absolutely loving this series. If you've read this series, also let me know, because like I said, underrated series. Okay, done with that. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more books to go. The next one's gonna be, or no, we already did that one. 1, 2, 3, 5 books to go. The next 2 books are both cowboy romances. I do have an upcoming reading cowboy romances video. I'm not done filming it, so I don't really know exactly when it's gonna come out, but it's coming at some point, you know what I mean? This top one I know I have more stuff for, so move that down a little bit. So the first one I read was Heartless by Elsie Silver. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it better than book 1, and the quote I have is, I don't know, new sounds scary, it sounds like failure. I will say, the amount of times we had to hear about this man's throbbing situation, obnoxious. But I did love Willow. Willow was our female main character. If you have read, oh, that was supposed to go here. Oh well. If you've read Rebel Blue Ranch, she is Teddy. Like, they're the same character, the same kind of character. They're both the fiery redhead character, okay? And there was one quote by her that I just have to tell you guys. These are undies, if you can't really tell. It's a thing. Just go along with it. Where she said to him that she was leaving. She's like, you need me right now more than I need you. And if you're just basically going to use me as a punching bag for the summer, count me out. Bye. And like, her just being able to stand up for herself, iconic. Because I feel like a lot of women in books kind of like don't. So amazing that she did. Loved it, truly. So I did give it 4 stars though, because there was one spice scene that was literally 3 chapters long, and I'm just like, we're still going. I didn't read it. I literally fast forwarded. I was like, nope, 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 don't care about any of it. So we do have the cowboy deco here in ice, or the yeehaw. I don't know what it's called. It might be called cowboy. Who knows? One of the two. But yeah, it was cute. But again, if I liked Cade as much as I liked Willa, it probably would have been 5 stars. But he was very mid compared to her. So it was 4 stars. Still a great rating. Still a great book. But I just like, I think I was watching Kirsten's video, because we actually read this at the same time, ironically. But she said that like everybody thinks he's like this hot cowboy daddy. But I'm just like, he kind of sucked, honestly. He was really mean to her for no reason, and all he did was constantly talk about wanting to fuck her and about how she was just so young compared to him. So that was that. And then I read a 3-star cowboy romance called Love is a War Song by Danica Nava. And I did love that this was about Native Americans, written by a Native American author, something you do not read a lot about. But it felt very YA. Like, it was compared a lot in the, like, Goodreads ratings to the Hannah Montana movie, and in the author's note, she referenced the movie Flicka, and I was like, correct, this gives Flicka, and it literally gives the movie Flicka, which I watched a lot growing up. I loved that movie, so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's giving YA. This specific cowboy ranch situation, they are all about breeding horses. So we have a baby horse there. And we do have a quote here that says, love is not a perfect melody that only happens when all the right notes and rhythms are present themselves. Love is a war song, a battle cry, something to fight for, and I would fight for us. This is our main character, and she is kind of out of touch with her native roots. Her mother kind of did not, like, is not close with her family, did not ever really introduce her to any of her native culture. And with that, she's being berated online because she's doing a bunch of things regarding her music and her music videos that are extraordinarily disrespectful to the native culture, and they're calling her out for it. And so she kind of goes off grid, goes to her family's ranch to really learn about these parts of herself. We got the cowboy deco here in silver. But this was an Afterlight pick, and I was excited to see a cowboy romance. I'm glad that I read it. Again, I just felt that it felt like a YA book with spice. Like, if you could have told me that these characters were 17 years old, and I would have been like, yeah, absolutely. And so due to that, I just like could not give it a 4 because I am kind of moving past YA. I think I'm now, like I said, my birthday is on Tuesday. I'm gonna be 30. So I think that just like YA feeling stories are just not super hitting for me anymore, which is fine. They're not written for me. So there's that. We've got 3 more books, which works out because one of them I believe is a 5-star. Okay. Cool. I think I'm actually just not even gonna put my DNFs in because I'm trying to conserve space, and I did not read enough of them to really care. These are the 3 books that I DNF'd within like before 25%. So I'm just not even gonna bother with the whole DNF situation. Truly not worth my effort. So perfect. We're gonna go with this. What is next? Okay. Next up, I read The Temporary Roomie by Sarah Adams. It's gonna be in a completing series video. This is my least favorite Sarah Adams book she's ever written that I've read. Well, I've read all of them besides, I've read every book she's written besides the 2 historical romances, which will probably be in this same camp of least favorite. But this book is the 2nd book in the Nashville, something about Nashville. It Happened in Nashville series, and I liked the first one. I gave it 4 stars, and this one I gave 2 stars. My lowest rated one ever. And I'm still gonna keep it again because it's the 2nd in the series. I love Sarah Adams, blah, 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 blah. Same old things apply. But it was not good. The quote I have is, you want fire and passion, you want pillow fights and prank wars, you want to be challenged and fought with, and deeply wanted. It's about our main character. She is best friends with the female from the first book. They like work together. She's her boss, and the male character is the brother of the female from the first book. You guys with me? You with me? So she is pregnant. The baby daddy wants nothing to do with it, and her house is having some work done, like some pipes burst or some nonsense. So she needs a place to live, and this girl's brother has the space. They kind of have a difficult relationship. They don't really like each other very much. Reluctantly, she moves in. She's a hairdresser, and he's an OBGYN, and this is really the reason that like I could not stand this book. First off, I'm already not like obsessed with the idea of men being OBGYNs. Like, I would never go to one. No, thank you. So on and so forth. But he like, for example, he had a tattoo, and she asked him, I'm gonna use the Baby Deco and Silver Waves, if he would ever get like more, and he was like, oh, I would, but like nothing that is visible, because like I'm so hot, and with my job, like it's just like I don't want to be like even more distracting to my patients, because like I'm so hot that these like women who see me as their doctor wouldn't be able to handle it if I had any visible tattoos. And like that's so disgusting to me, and that was like very much vibes throughout this book, and I just could not actually stand it. So I did give it 2 stars. And this is hands down my least favorite of her like series. The When in Rome series is my #1 favorite. The like Charleston series, like that one's my 2nd favorite. I loved the first one in that one, the like one with the service dog. Absolutely love that book. And then this one's my 3rd favorite. And I think the other one I have left is definitely gonna be my least favorite, but I'm a completionist, so I will read those 2 books as well. Her books are really short, they're low commitment, and I love her as an author, so it's all good. It's all in good fun. These are her older books, so it makes sense. Then I read Tusk Love, which is a romantasy novel. The quote, and I gave it 3 stars, which for me is really good for romantasy. The quote I have is the road was long and yet it always led back to him. This book gave Shrek, okay? We have Oscar, he's an orc, and we have Guinevere. She's like a elf princess, and not a princess, but like she's marrying a royal guy. She has these magical powers that are kind of like frowned upon. Nobody's supposed to know about them because they're dangerous. And Oscar is essentially tasked with delivering her to her husband, and kind of like Shrek. And it's like this whole thing, all of these situations ensue. They actually obviously love each other, and so, you know, it was a cute one. It had enough plot. There was like I said, all this lore about this magic that she holds, as well as there's like this whole other like plot with this trunk that they're transporting, and like they're not allowed to open it, and it's been in her room her whole life. That shit was so interesting. But this book was written by Critical Role, and well, by Thea Blonzon, but the idea of it came from Critical Role, where basically in campaign 3, I believe, one of the characters had like this funny little plot line where she was reading, like the character was reading smutty orc like novels, and her like favorite novel was Tusk Love. And so the fact that they like made the book is just iconic to me. I think it is so funny and so campy, and as like a D&D fan, I just love everything about that. So I thought it was a super fun story, and if you are a romantasy person, I do highly recommend. You'd probably like it even more than I did, but I thought it was fun. I love that it's not a series. I love that it was a short book. That's another thing with romantasy and like fantasy and stuff for me. A lot of it is series, and I just get so bored with world building. Like, I just like don't care that deeply, and so for this to just be like a silly little one-off, amazing for me. Amazing. Then the last book I read this month is The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. She is the daughter of, you know, Sherry Frankie from the whole 8 Passengers situation, and I loved this memoir. I did give it 5 stars. The way that Sherry was able to convey her story without exploiting her siblings was next level. She's the oldest of the children, but the only other one she named by name of her 6 siblings was her brother Chad, who has been like in the media and is like already like a known face, but she did not speak a name of any of her other siblings. She did not speak about the intense like abuse that they like endured. She told the story from her point of view, and it was heartbreaking. The quotes I have is, "I would have to wait to be loved." Heartbreaking. Literally heartbreaking. The next one I have is, "Sometimes family isn't just what you are born into, it's also what you build in the aftermath of loss." Oh my god, that literally like gives me chills. And then we have a long boy. But like just the way she articulated herself in this story was just amazing. So this quote says, "Realizing your own mother was incapable of truly seeing you, of loving you for who you are rather than an extension of herself, is a bitter pill to swallow. It's the death of a fundamental childhood hope, the one where if you just try hard enough, mommy will love you unconditionally. But in a strange way, this understanding has also been incredibly liberating. I now know that I could never have been good enough or perfect enough to make Ruby truly happy or proud. The insatiable void I was trying to fill wasn't created by me, and it wasn't mine to fix. That realization, as painful as it is, the first step on a path to healing for me, if not for her." And so it literally like it gives me chills. It's just so heartbreaking that anybody would do that to their children. So I do have some pictures of Sherry to put in here, as well as her bitch ass mother and Jodie Hildebrandt's mugshot, because fuck them, looking hideous in their mugshots. Here they are, looking bad, as they should. And then we'll pop Sherry here as well, beauty queen. And yeah, it's just horrible. What these children endured at the hands of their mother is just disgusting and heartbreaking. And it literally makes me want to cry for them. I need to pop in the actual book. So we'll do that first. We'll pop this in here. just want to make sure I had room. And obviously this is in fact a 5-star read. LOL. I'm glad that I printed 2 sheets of these because I need exactly 1 more. Which I would have had exactly enough if I didn't fuck up the last one because I threw the star away. The last one I saved the star and reused it, but that's fine. I made the whole other sheet. It's whatever. I'll save it for whenever I use this color again, probably next year, because this is one of my favorite foils. So it'll get used someday. Okay, okay. And then for my deco for this, I do have the star deco in wood grain. I thought that worked out nicely with like the browns in her cover and in her like backgrounds of her pictures. But what a strong, brave, powerful woman to write this book. Like, it's truly how I feel. Like, I obviously don't know her, but like, damn am I proud of her for doing that, because being able to speak that truth and put that out into the world, knowing like she was going to be judged and scrutinized for whatever, is what is just something. But she's a badass bitch. That's all I really gotta say about it. And yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. We're gonna move into my August wrapped next, and this is where I always simply have to reference all of my, I'm going to make this shorter, all of my past months as to what I do. How do I do this? July wrapped. Okay, I usually just do like a little doodad, a little dude here, and this one we're gonna bring in these deco-y bits. Do some of these all around here. Star. Another one of these. Toss in a diamond, a little heart. Sure. Some little deco, you know, some little tiny boys. Cute, cute, cute. So we're gonna start with genres. Actually, I think this is huge, but it's fine because I did not read all that many genres this month, so it'll literally be all good. We'll do that, and we'll do something blue. Then we need a diamond in the blue family, sure. And what's the other shape that I have not used? Star, a pink star. Perfect, perfect. Genres. So, how many genres do we have? Not many. I made these really small as well. I don't know what's going on with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. There's 10 of these on here. I'm gonna plop these in. And we're gonna make them fit, baby. That's for damn sure. I'm gonna overlap stuff up here because ain't no way these are not fitting. Oh no, I might need 2 rows for romance. I don't know how many. Let me count how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can fit 14. Whichever one of the 14 romances. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I need 2 rows for romance, so I guess I need 11. That's fine. I don't know where that cut me off, but you guys would have still seen me going on the facing down. You would have just lost me. But yeah, turns out I need 2 rows for romance because we've just been in our romance era, you know what I mean? It's just been the vibes we've been in, which is completely fine because sometimes you're mentally unwell and you just need a happy little kick your feet hee hee ha ha to feel less dead inside, you know? And that's completely fair if you ask me. I think it's completely reasonable behavior. And yeah, okay, we definitely are gonna have room for it all here. Might even be able to do a little decorative, a little boy at the bottom. I'm for sure gonna do romance at the end just to make sure that I'm just gonna not put, because like last month I like gravely miscalculated. I'm not gonna put the extra row in yet. I will at the when I need it, just to make sure that like my counting wasn't crazy like last month, you know. So we're just gonna do that, and we will put romance down here so that whenever we need to add a row, it's fine. I think that that's perfectly acceptable way to go about this. So we have thriller, fiction, fantasy. I don't know why I made these so small. Romantasy, mystery, it was a mistake, memoir, YA, dystopian, and gay. Okay. I'm just gonna start at the top. The first book was The Perfect Divorce. Thriller. Boom. Got it. Next, The Love Haters. Romance. Check. Then we had The Wedding People, which is fiction. Then we had Where the Crawdads Sing, which is both fiction and mystery. Fiction, mystery. Then Any Trope But You, romance. Nice Girls Don't Win, memoir. Brain Damage, thriller is what it's classified as on Goodreads, so that's what we're gonna go with. Scythe is YA dystopian. YA dystopian. Then we have Love Theoretically, romance. Till Summer Do Us Part, romance. Delilah Green Doesn't Care, LGBTQ / romance. After that, Ruthless, Vows is YA fantasy. Love and Focus is an LGBTQ romance. Okay, then Nora Goes Off Script is romance. Taming 7 is romance. Keep It in the Family, thriller. If You Tell a Lie, thriller. Wild and Wrangled is romance. The Christmas Tree Farm, romance. Well-Traveled, romance. The Measure, dystopian. Beneath the Stars is romance. Fahrenheit 182 is memoir. I read 3 memoirs this month. Is kind of crazy. Hideaway Heart is romance. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need the other one. I did not bravely miscount this time, so we'll grab one. Just pop it in. That was Hideaway Heart. Business Casual is romance. Heartless is romance. The heart wants, you know what I mean? Love is a War Song is romance. This is the one that felt YA, but technically it's not. The Temporary Roomie is romance. Tusk Love is romantasy. And The House of My Mother is a memoir. So that's the genres. And then we can add a little bit more of a little decorative flair down here, because why not add that in? It's cute. I have it. Then we will move into locations. It's been so interesting tracking the locations this year and like seeing how many books literally take place in New York and California. It's been crazy. It's been so crazy. trying to make sure I have something in like the pinkish side of this color scheme and something in the blues on both sides. There we go. We have a lot more locations than we did the genres. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Exactly 20. There's 10. And so I'm just gonna get these put in now. But yeah, not this month in particular. I feel like this month we had like a pretty decent spread of locations, but there are some months where it feels like pretty much everything takes place in California and New York. Like, you'll see probably a lot of these states are only once, but I guarantee you at the end of the year when I make like a giant stats, it's gonna be like 5,000 books in New York, 5,000 in California. 20 locations is kind of crazy for 1 month though. Very spread out. Seeing as I only read 30 books, not only read, but I read 30 books and there's 20 locations, lots of duplicates. That's what that means. I really deeply don't want this to go on a second page, but I fear it's going to no matter what I do. Like, we're over halfway down the page right now. It's gonna be like this much more. There's like a chance, it's like a small chance of it fitting. We're gonna like butt them up as tight as I can. But yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like this part of these videos is quite boring. So like, if you want to just fast forward to me being done with this part, you may. My stomach is growling so bad. I have a vegetable soup. I'm gonna heat up some of that when I'm done with this. I don't know what part of me thought like, oh yeah, it's gonna be such a quick video this month. I don't think it's any shorter, truly. Yeah, I'm definitely not fitting 4 more in here. That's really devastating if I'm being honest with you. I think I'm just gonna not put in the ones that are like an unknown location or like a fictional location, because like I'm just not putting one on this side. I'm just not doing it. So it's my journal and I make the rules, and that's the rules I made. So we've got Virginia, Florida. It'd be really stellar if I just miscounted. Rhode Island, North Carolina, Alaska, Oregon, which I'm pretty sure I learned that's how you say that. I'm skipping unknown. California, Ireland, England, Texas. My stomach is growling so bad. Tennessee, Michigan, Canada, Oklahoma, Utah. This just makes me want to sing the 50 Nifty United States every time. Massachusetts, Wyoming, Maryland, and New York. Okay, I did not miscount, unfortunately, but it's fine. The unknown ones really don't matter all that much to me because it's not like fulfilling countries or states, you know? Okay, back to the top. The Perfect Divorce, Virginia. The Love Haters, Florida. It's one hell of a drug. The Wedding People is Rhode Island. It's gonna go mainly in order, honestly. Probably where the Crawdads sing, North Carolina. Any Trope But You, Alaska. It's until we have like a repeater. It's probably in order. Nice Girls Don't Win. I'm not putting that anywhere because it took place like in so many different places. Oh no, out of order. Brain Damage, New York, I don't know how that happened, but it happened. Scythe is unknown. Love Theoretically is Massachusetts. Okay, we're going all over the place. Oh, I know what happened. We're gonna just, yeah. Till Summer Do Us Part, New York. Already our first double. Delilah Green Doesn't Care, Oregon. Makes me think of organ, like the body part. Ruthless, Vows, unknown. Love in Focus, California. San Francisco to be specific. Taming 7, Ireland. Keep It in the Family, England. If You Tell a Lie, Texas. Wild and Wrangled, Wyoming. The Christmas Tree Farm, it never really says, so fictional. Wellraveled is Maryland for the most part. The Measure does take place in New York as well. It's dystopian, but it does take place in New York. Mostly. There are some parts that are in Venice, but it's mainly in New York. Beneath the Stars is Tennessee. Fahrenheit 183, California. Hideaway, Hart, Michigan. Business Casual, Maryland. Double Maryland. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry if that's not in focus. Heartless is Canada. Love is a War Song, Oklahoma. The Temporary Roomie, Tennessee. Tusk Love, no, not real. And Sherry Frankie's book takes place mainly in Utah. But that is everything, friends. That is my August book journal done. I think it is amazing. This is still my favorite spread right here. Oh, love it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!